I think just about every video I have started this week and last week has pretty much started with me saying, "Can they just not sit still for 5 minutes and, like, not knock over the Jenga tower on their first move?" Because not only have we got reform currently imploding in Kent, which we'll be talking about today, Cornwall, which will be the next video we'll be talking about. But as I've said before, other stuff is happening in other councils that these reform people are also in control of that I also want to talk about. For example, Warwickshire. You'll notice we haven't had a chance to talk about the stuff going on in Warwickshire um, because there's so much other stuff happens. And thank you very much to um, Councillor Conditor, keeping me informed on what's going on here. I do want to do an update, but there's just so much stuff going on, and I only have so much time in a day to do these videos because I have another job to do. It's just infuriating the amount of stuff, and they just cannot sit still for 5 goddamn minutes. I want to talk about the fact that George Finch might have made up his entire assault stuff. But I just can't because there's just this going on. And if we don't keep up with this, then it's almost like you stop reading a book, like a really big book. If you ever read The Wheel of Time, and you know how big the Wheel of Time books are. If you stop reading one and then you come back and you're like, oh, who's this character? What did they do? What did that? What happened there? This is the thing with local politics. There's these constant storylines going through all this. And if you miss like a couple of episodes, sometimes you can lose the plot thread. So I am very aware of all the stuff that's going on. It's just there's just so much stuff. There's just so much stuff. But before we go more into today's more implosion going on in Kent, please do, of course, remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button down below. And of course, don't forget to ring the bell so you get notifications when we go live or when we drop a new video. There is, of course, down below the Patreon page, the Buy Me a Coffee link, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, the YouTube membership down below as well. There is, of course, the QR code up there. That'll take you straight to the Patreon page. And of course, thank you very much to everyone who does watch and click the like, click the share button, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think, especially if you are from Kent as well. I really want to know what you guys think about this because this is your council imploding. And when stuff like this happens, that means stuff on the council then cannot get done. So much stuff, so much stuff to talk about that these reform people are just absolutely messing up on a very dramatic way, which again has real world consequences for people living in these areas. So let's get on directly into this because now 5 Reform UK councillors have now been booted from the party. So this is again all this fallout from that video that's been leaked, and it just keeps on getting worse. When are they going to realize the problem is Linda Carmen? But even then, if you get rid of Linda Carmen, oh boy, that's not going to stop the craziness on Kent County Council. That's for sure. It'll just become a new, different type of craziness. But anyway, let's get on into this because oh boy, oh boy. Anyway, 5 now. UK Reform UK county councillors have now been expelled from the party for bringing it into disrepute and displaying a lack of integrity. Oh my word. That would apply to like so many reform councillors, and they're still acting as councillors. Kent councillors Bill Barnett and Robert Ford, who criticised the party's now toxic and incompetent leadership, were then kicked out by email from the Reform HQ, which said they had now undermined the interests of the party. So 2 more have now gone. Councillors Oliver Bradshaw, Brian Black, Paul Thomas were also expelled. They're showing now a pattern of dishonest and deceptive behaviour for which the party will not tolerate, Reform UK had said. So, wow. Holy moly. You have booted out 5 people from this party. There are already the 4 who are under investigation, which I think Bradshaw was, Thomas was on that one. So they're now gone, for showing a pattern of dishonest and deceptive behavior, which apparently the party's not going to tolerate. Meanwhile, of course, Linda Carmen still has no idea who leaked this video. She's just getting and purging people whoever she wants. Has she got rid of the leaker? Who knows? But I'll tell you this now. If I were the leaker right now, if you had anything more, now would be the time to do it. Now would be the time to leak even more stuff. Because quite frankly, at this point, you've got nothing to lose. If you haven't been kicked out of the party yet, why not? If you have been kicked out of the party and you do have more stuff, well, why not? You've got nothing to lose now. It comes, of course, after the very damaging video leak showing that Reform UK leader of Kent County Council, Linda Carmen, swearing and shouting during a council meeting. And bear in mind, how does that not bring the party into disrepute? Showing a lack of professionalism and a lack of, integrity as well. Why are they not booting out Linda Carmen for that either? Kent County Council, it continues, is of course widely seen as the very big test case for Reform UK's ability to govern as the largest local authority in England. Councillor Barrett, of course, declined to comment, while Councillor Ford and Councillor Black and Councillor Thomas and Councillor Bradshaw have all been approached by the BBC. Councillor Barrett, who represents Ashford Borough, was one of the 4 councillors suspended for suspicion of leaking the clip, something that he denies. They haven't got any evidence, so he said that the Kent leadership was very toxic due to now the dissent of reform backers, toxic now to the opposition, and toxic ultimately to the party's own reputation. Councillor Ford was also suspended now for alleged unofficial complaints by female members of Kent County Council staff. What a surprise! That keeps on happening in a lot of these councils run by these people. But I would, well, maybe not Councillor Ford, but maybe, I don't know, Councillor Barrett. I would love to speak to like one of these reform people. I know they'd be reformed, but honestly, if one of these people who left reform wants to like actually come and like talk about what's going on and spill even more tea, I'm here for it. Just spill the tea. I will gladly give you a platform to do so on that. So the 59-year-old, who also claimed no details were, of course, put to him about where and when and how he acted, according to local Democracy Reporting Service. So is that even real? And for the alleged unofficial complaint, who knows? He said there is not, of course, one shred of evidence against me, he said, adding he now gets filthy looks in the street. So I wonder if that will now go to court. The Maidstone councillor said that he believes his expulsion was, of course, due to now a strongly worded email he sent to other Reform UK councillors expressing his concerns about the leadership. Both Councillor Ford and Barrett have also alleged that they were bullied by members of Reform UK, which has, of course, been denied. Councillor Thomas and Bradshaw were also suspended by Reform UK following the video leak. The statement then following the leak. Thomas said that he was, of course, still supportive of the leadership within the chamber. The Liberal Democrat in the council and deputy opposition leader Richard Starfield called on Reform UK in Kent the complete laughingstock of the country. This no longer, the longer this goes on, the longer Kent's reputation will now be dragged through the dirt. After the footage of now berating fellow councillors and using expletives was leaked to The Guardian just earlier this month, Carmen said the culprits had committed an act of treachery. Again, bear in mind that Liberal Democrat guy is not wrong. He's not wrong at all. This is unbelievable. This is one of those unbelievable moments where it's just like, and if you are putting so much attention into this, you'd think they would step in and try and sort it out. But no, they're apparently, from what I've heard, they're leaving it all to Linda Carmen to try and resolve this. Farage apparently does not want to touch this with a barge pole because he thinks if he gets involved, it'll affect their reputation. But I would say this has gone on so far, at some point, he has to step in. And then how does he solve this problem? Well, that would be showing leadership, which, bear in mind, Farage is not very good at either, because it is, as we've seen many, many times before in the past, it's either his way or the highway. So Linda Carmen only following, quite frankly, in her leader's footsteps. Anyway, back to this. She later, of course, urged fellow councillors to back her in a letter, which called now her the best person for the job, who is leading now with integrity, courage, and discipline. The spokesperson for the party previously said that Carmen had the overwhelming support of the group and would remain as the leader. On Friday, Carmen used a letter to now 13 other local authority leaders to explain the revelations, which, of course, had dominated the headlines. She said the leaked video was, of course, of a private meeting, which by its nature must be robust and frank, but it is now first and foremost to be an internal group matter. But even then, treating people like that, and in one case, someone actually asking a genuine question, asking for clarification about why and how you came to that decision, is, I think, probably the most perfectly reasonable question that we saw put forward on that video. And yet, he's been booted now completely from the party. Anyway, she said, of course, the leaked footage was not, of course, a form from the constituted Kent County Council meeting, nor was it, of course, supported by Kent County Council officers. Everything that meeting, of course, had the right to expect that the views expressed would, of course, remain private now to the reform group, she said. Carmen said that she was aware, of course, of the leaked footage causing concerns among some of the Kent leaders and about the council's intention or even approach to local government reorganisation, which, again, something we have not been able to cover either, because this has sparked a lot of people's interest about that local government reform, the reorganisation. So we haven't even had a chance to cover that because Kent County Council is just falling apart constantly. She then went on to add that she did not believe it is the answer now to the major challenges of course, our country faces. Carmen has also now repeated her early accusations of other Kent leaders, shocking level of ignorance at the probable cost of reorganisation. I would say she knows nothing either, because it's not like she ran on local government reform. None of the reform people did. Everyone other in the area did. They didn't. But as always, any councillor, be it from Kent or any of these other people that are in opposition against these reform people, if you want to come on here and you want to tell us what's going on in your council, as I always keep on saying, that platform and that door is open to you. I will gladly give you that platform to come and talk about the madness that's going on in your local council, because it needs to be talked about. Anyway, back to this. So she finishes off saying, this is what, of course, I was referring to in the private group meeting, reported, of course, in the Guardian article, that this is what I've now conveyed to you directly and in person many times, she explained. How long can she keep going? I was shocked she managed to make it a week. But at this point, I think she might last. I think she'll boot out all these people and somehow she'll last. I don't know how, quite frankly, but she's keeping going somehow. So, as always, let me know what you think about all this, because, as always, the chaos in Kent continues to amplify. I have a very strong suspicion we'll be talking, once again, more updates about this week. So, as always, do remember to click the like, the share button, and, of course, if you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button, and, of course, do remember to ring the bell as well. And, of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.